In-depth journalism in the Memphis community, the Daily Memphian is of Memphis, not just in Memphis, and seeks to tell the stories of this city. TheDailyMemphian.com. Truth in place.
I'm Bill Dries with the Daily Memphian. This is one in a series of podcast interviews for our stories marking 50 years since the start of Plan Z busing for the racial integration of what was then Memphis City Schools. We are joined by Edith Abakare of Atlanta, who in 1973 was a student at Westside High School in Fraser, a sophomore, and a classmate of mine back in the day. Edith, first of all, 50 years, really?
Wow, really, yeah.
Time has passed quickly in many cases. So let's start just a few steps before you arrive at Westside. Before Plan Z was announced, the specific assignments for who went where were circulated. Where were you going to school, and where were you going to go to school if Plan Z had never happened?
Okay, I was enrolled at Hume Junior High School.
Okay.
And so, and then I would have gone on to Northside High School.
Right.
But I ended up at Westside.
Yeah. And as this is happening, some of the students that were at Westside before busing started, we got a tour of Northside High School, where some of us were to be assigned in the 1973-74 school year, depending on where the lines were drawn. And it was really eye-opening. Northside had been open at that point for a few years, and it was in its prime, it seemed to me. It had an auditorium for 1,800 students, big enough to hold two, maybe three times every student at Westside, which was the smallest high school in the entire system at that time. Northside had an auto shop, a print shop, a multi-level mid-century modern library with sophisticated student art all over it, courtyards. So you're assigned to Westside starting in August of 1973. What are your thoughts about the change?
Well, we were all excited about Northside because it was the best that we had, the best of best for us, for students on my side of town. And so to look forward to doing that, to being at it was still new to us, even though it was a few years old, it was still new. But then when we got the news about going to Westside, the first thing we thought about, we really don't think it's going to be safe. I don't know if they're going to like us. What are we going to do? What is it going to be like? And then we have to get on a bus. Mm-hmm. And so it was just the pattern of that was kind of scary, but we embraced it. Mm-hmm. We embraced it, and we did it.
Absolutely. So you get on the school buses that first morning, and you come to Westside, and as you've said, there is some apprehension. Busing is a very controversial thing all over town at this particular point. Our parents, for most of us, had grown up under racial segregation by law. This was not only new for us; it was new for them too. So what was that first day like when the buses rolled up outside of Westside?
Well, the first thing that happened that was it was not, now there was something written. There's a little bridge that would come down. There's a long drive before you get to the school, and there's a little bridge.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And so that was a racial slur painted there. And so, the bus continued on. And so we got to the school and still being nervous, not knowing exactly what was going to happen. And then people were there was opposition. And just to be in the middle of that at that time, we didn't really know any better. We had been told what we were to do, and so we were on the bus. Our parents had put us on the bus for those who agreed to put us on the bus, and we journeyed on. It was kind of like a new sightseeing to it at first, coming down Danny Thomas and coming on in to Frazier and just looking around, and things were different. But when we got to that bridge, then the reality kicked in. It was like, they don't want us here. We don't know why we are being sent here. They don't want us here. The parents don't want us. They don't like us, and we thought about just all the other stuff that had happened, going through my mind. I don't know if the thought about being lynched didn't come to my mind, but I was very apprehensive about being.
There was a group of women who were waiting on the sidewalk when the buses rolled up, a group of white women who were there with signs and the whole 9 yards. And it's your first day of school in this new place. So I take it improved. I mean, my experience was in the classrooms that first day, it was really quiet.
It was very, very quiet. And when we got inside the school, there was no problem inside the building. The problem was outside of the building. And so we, as young kids, being I'll say forced into doing this, embarking upon this new journey together inside the building, there were not. I didn't have any problem. There was no problem. Certainly was excited about having new books. Brand new books that nobody had written in, nobody had torn pages from, and just the building itself was, as far as I'm concerned, was so clean and nice. So it was certainly a journey, but to come to school and then to leave in a hostile environment, I think that affected us more than anything. But as children, as young children, for the most part, we got along.
We did. And it took some time, and there were the normal kid things that happened too. And on top of that, what I remember was there were so many rumors of bad things that were going to happen.
Yes.
And were going to happen at a specific time on a specific day. And of course, they didn't happen.
They didn't happen. Yeah. And it was so, like you said, there was so many rumors flying about just different things happening, and you can't be at this spot, and they're going to do this, and it's going to be all kind of chaos. But those things didn't happen. And so just being inside the building with the staff kind of gave us, it was normal inside the building. Like you said, the regular stuff go on. Somebody's not going to like somebody, somebody might trip somebody up, but that's normal kid stuff. But it was outside of the building that we had the opposition, and it was obvious.
Right. And so then we move into the normal things like football season, and we move into getting uniforms for ROTC, which was mandatory at the time for 10th graders. And I think that was the last year it was mandatory. So we kind of had to talk to each other.
Yes.
I mean, the school was small enough that you really at least knew everybody's name, or knew a brother or a sister.
Everybody knew everybody, and like you said, the population was small enough. And what sticks in my mind is that I ranked number 7 in the class, and so there was not a lot. I think we may have had 100 and some students to graduate, but it was amazing how we all knew each other. We got to know each other because we had no choice, since we were all navigating this new togetherness. Together. So it was different, and it was a learning experience.
So when you come home from school at the end of the day, are the other kids who are not riding the bus, are they curious about what's happening? Are you curious about what's going on at their schools?
Well, we would get together and talk, but then we faced some some racial things from kids in our neighborhood saying, you're going to a white school, you think you're white, and what are you doing going there? Just things like that. We got called where I got called different kind of names, from different people. And so it was, in one sense, there was freedom to be home, but then you were still like in the mindset of bondage, because your own peers or people in your neighborhood were saying different things about you being you agreeing to go, we're going, and then being all right with going.
Mm-hmm.
and then excelling in going. And
Right.
so that became a target too. He became a
Yeah.
target for that.
I I faced the reverse of that. People saying, "How can you go to school with them?" I mean, I came
Mhm.
out of 8 years of Catholic school and came to
Okay.
Westside the year before. So I got a lot of, well, why aren't you going to Catholic High or CBHS or someplace like that? And basically, I told them, no, I'm at my school. That's
Yeah.
my school, you know. And all of us who are there now, some ride buses, some walk to school, but it's all of our school at this time.
Yeah. It was our school. It was our school. It was, and we were competitive with sports. I was a member of ROTC. I was an ROTC sponsor.
Hmm.
Um, Participated in just about everything, but um, the jewel of being at Westside was that uh, for where I may not have had the opportunity to be chosen for different things that I was chosen for at Westside, because at Westside, um, in order to be a part of like Queens or being a part of anything that's going on, if you had the grade point average, your name automatically went on the ballot. And
Hmm.
so that was mind blowing. And so I had the opportunity to be a part of a lot of courts where normally if I was at a bigger school, I might not have been as popular, because popularity tend to get you appointed and chosen for different things at larger schools. So that was a
Right.
plus for me. Yeah.
Hmm.
That was a
Yeah.
plus for me.
And you were the next year you became a senior
I
because
see
a
it, yeah.
because a lot of kids did what we call graduated early
Graduated early. Yeah. Yeah.
for a reason, and you were Miss West Side
Yeah. I was the
that
first
final year.
first Black Miss West Side
Yes.
ever. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was. And so I was excited about that. Um, it was certainly fun. We had fun. We did have fun. Once we got past all the other things. I think we only had one racial slur written in the hall one time that I remember. It was a big sign in the hall. Somebody wrote that out. But other than that, we planned to just get along, and we did. It worked out
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Worked out fine being a part of the clubs, and just being together.
Hmm. We did have that first year, uh, the disturbance that was the police had to come and break people apart that year, rolling across the front lawn. I think it came out of the basketball game, an
Okay.
intramural basketball game.
Uh-huh.
So we had police in the school at a time when you didn't even have metal detectors in schools. We had the police camp out there for the rest of the school year right after Easter. And I think the National Conference of Christians and Jews had some workshops for us after that, and maybe before that too,
Okay.
to kind of talk things out and work things out over that. But yeah, it was Memphis teenagers who I think had more in common than maybe they certainly thought at the
Right,
beginning.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So we were part of, you and I were on the newspaper staff together.
We were on the paw
Yeah,
print.
yeah, on the
Yes.
paw print, on the paw
Yes.
print. Yeah,
That's
yep,
right.
exactly. So yeah,
Yeah.
and it was good, but it was good. I remember uh well just the journey itself, and it was not a bad journey. It was not. It really was not a bad journey. So I left when I graduated early, graduated at 16. And so um but being at Westside just gave me just a different outlook. As I said, I got exposed to some other things that I may not have gotten exposed to if I had been at a typical just an all Black um, high school.
Hmm. Same here, and the other people that we've talked to who went to other schools and were part of that exchange have really said the same thing about it.
Yeah.
It was very, very. I feel like it was kind of a turning point, even though there are different verdicts on whether it succeeded at what it was supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of looking at that, 50 years later, What are your thoughts about that? Did we accomplish what was set out, or did we kind of accomplish what we were going to accomplish in this?
You mean the legislation and just the court ordered busing part?
Yeah.
I am better for the experience, but I don't know if the schools, because we have reverted back to everybody just doing what they want to do, and certainly in this day and time we reverted back in the public school system to segregation, even though some of us don't want to admit it. But at that time, it worked. Now it had its flaws, but for me, being a part of the start of it, it worked. I say I don't know if I want to say I'm better for it, but I guess it gave me an opportunity to just to be able to interact with white students and to get along. And so I didn't have any fights at school. Didn't run into any major problems. Had a little pushback, with being chosen for the Queens and with the ROTC, different things that happened. But other than that, it was a good experience for me. It was. It really was. And so it had its purpose. It did bring expose us to I wouldn't say a better education, because I went to elementary school at Grant and then I went to Humes, and so I was already those years gave me what I needed to go ahead and excel through high school, and that's why I was able to come out early. But Westside was not a bad experience for me. The bus was not a bad experience for me. I don't remember any of our windows being broken on our bus on the journey to the school.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't believe it's been 50 years.
I can't either, but at the same time, it's hard to explain this to people who weren't around here or who weren't around, period, at the time, because they will say, wait a minute, you mean they just told you get on a bus and go to this other school? And it's like, yeah, that's how it worked. It was a court order. The school system had to do it. And what tends to get forgotten, I think, also is just how segregated we were before that.
Yes.
And after it too, as you said, but it really put that time before into contrast, I think, after all that came in those, 3 or 4 short years of high school.
Yeah, because it was something, and we know that the parents who could afford to pull their children out and put them in private schools or to do, had all the other options. But some parents, like my parents, it was not an option. Some of us are really rule followers to a fault. Just rule followers to a fault. Just follow the rules.
Yeah.
And so, for those who participated, or those who followed the rules and became a part of the experience, I have to say that it worked at that time. It worked. And so it may be some different stories out, but it worked. It worked.
All right. We have been talking with Edith Abakare about Plan Z. I'm Bill Dries, and this is the Daily Memphian.